everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm LaWanda.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we are here to talk about SnowFall. It's season 5, episode 4, and it was titled Revolutions. So you guys hang tight. We'll be right back. All right, everyone, we are back to talk SnowFall. Like I said, this is episode 4 of this season, and it was titled Revolutions. And we are definitely getting ready to hear about a lot of uprisings. Some people shocked me this week. You know, Cissy's back, and talking about a revolution. I mean, you know, it was kind of confirmed this week that Alton's gone. Like, I think that Franklin just needed to hear it, like, from somebody else other than Reed, that, like, you know, something more that I don't know. I think he just needed somebody to verbalize what he already knew. And when Cissy kind of just laid it out there, I think he knew in his gut, like, oh man, my worst nightmares have come true.
He still downplays it though, you know, or at least he does to the crew. And it worries me, you know. I know he, you know, we all know that he had, you know, beef with his dad. He, you know, wasn't that close to him. But my thing is, you know, either come to the realization that your father was murdered by Teddy, you know, and stop playing around. You know, Teddy killed your dad, and what are you going to do about it? You know, that to me, you know, I'm sorry, you can't sleep on that.
He don't want to believe it. I think he was in a little bit of denial, maybe.
Partially, but I also think that he's saying that to them. But I think internally he knows, and I honestly think that he's gonna make a move against Teddy this season.
Well, if he don't, Cissy will.
Cissy will.
Yeah, you know what? I'm scared for Cissy. I see that she wants to do that.
Yeah.
But Teddy is so dangerous,
yes,
and unhinged that I think it will go badly. I think he would kill the guy that she hired.
That part.
Yeah.
I think he'll kill the guy, but I don't know if Cissy will get killed.
He's one of those people you have to watch and wait for an opportunity and just be ready to take it. If he slips up, whatever it is. And maybe that's what Franklin is thinking, because he recognizes he's in a situation. It's not like he can really step away from it on either side, right? So I think he has to tell himself whatever he has to tell himself in order to keep going. But I think he has to be waiting for Teddy to slip up before that opportunity to get him back.
Well, and then too, I think for Franklin, it's all about the Benjamins, and you know, I'm thinking, but then again, does he really need Teddy?
But you know, because he's essentially working for the government, right? For unofficial government operation. So that's a sticky situation to be in anyway, right? I think they had worked it out that he could do it without Teddy, but by Teddy being, I guess, cunning enough to get himself back in that position, the only way he's gonna have to take him out. But how do you take out a crazy person, a maniac that's always strategizing, who now knows that you are looking at him as the person who killed his father, that you have that suspicion. So that makes Teddy more dangerous because now he's paranoid. He knows that you're coming from him, right?
Yes. And I think Franklin, that's why he has to put on that front, like he's unbothered, because the second Teddy realizes, like, oh, he's on, he knows that I did that to his dad. That's when it's like extra dangerous for.
Well, I think Teddy's right. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tiff. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I think you're right about the paranoia, because I rewatched last week's episode and the scene where Teddy was in his office And soon as Gustavo came in, he reached for his gun, and I was like, "Oh, he's on edge."
Yeah.
And I was like, "He knows that Franklin is gonna come for him."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think see, the problem with Teddy is he's excuse me. The problem with Teddy is that he has a long reach, and you can't, like for instance, he knows Cissy's back in town. I guarantee you he knows that. And, which is why I'm a little concerned for Cissy coming back, because I don't think Teddy is finished. And I think Teddy is unhinged. And I think the problem with Franklin is the only person that the CIA would know who, if he were to kill Teddy, the CIA would automatically know it had to have been Franklin.
Yeah.
And so Franklin is a little worried about that, that pushback. And that's probably what's keeping him from doing Teddy in. But, I'm a little worried after what we saw in this episode, because I didn't agree with Cissy just popping up. And we all know how Teddy is about his mama. So.
And what did you guys think about her asking Franklin to be more involved? Like, she told him to not lie, to make sure she's filled in on the details, but also Franklin was like, what are you asking for right now? Like, are you asking me to give you product to move? Like, what is your involvement mean?
I think she's just trying to stay close because she's plotting on Teddy. Teddy is the end game. And I think that's what she's asking for, to be involved, but she's not telling Franklin that she's plotting to have him killed.
Right.
But that's why she's trying to be close.
But she gotta know there's no way Franklin is giving her any product or anything. Like, she's not going to touch the drugs. And if he fills her in, it'll probably be after the fact. So,
and Franklin asked her if she wanted. He said, "What do you want? You want to be back? You want to be in?" And she said, "I'm already in, because the man that we're dealing with killed my husband." That to me is a scary thing, because you don't even know what you're doing. And even asking Ramon, I think the guy's name, trying to set up
Ruben,
yeah,
trying to set this set up a thing to take out Teddy is not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Am I wrong in thinking that she was already in? Wasn't he already kind of cluing her in before?
The real estate part.
Real estate. She was on a real estate. She was never involved in the drug.
In the drug game.
Wasn't he going to her for some advice? Like, she knew a lot more than.
Well, she was helping him with the real estate.
Yeah.
And she was because she was doing property management before she got into it with him. So she was advising him on that, like with the bookstore and how to get involved with what was that what was the alderman or whatever that?
Yeah, all the legal ventures.
All the legal. She was advising him on that, but she involved.
She wasn't involved with the illegal stuff, but she did have some knowledge of it.
Using the dirt. She had knowledge, but she was using the dirty money to
run
secure those properties.
Right.
But this time, I mean, she really wants to be in, or she seems to want to be in. And I, it surprised me to see how comfortable she was.
That's a ruse. That's a ruse.
It has to be, because
she's trying to get to Teddy.
Yeah, because remember when she went and talked to Leon and she saw those weapons, I mean, I'm thinking, she would have freaked out or something, but she handled it like a G. I'm like,
she was a Black Panther.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, and
no, but I'm saying they dealt with weapons. That one freaked her out.
But I'm saying it let me know that she seems to really want to be a part of this thing now. At first she didn't want any part of it. All she wanted to do was deal with the money. At some point, like I think we said even last season, at some point the money draws you in. And
well, right now it's not about the money. I think she's a woman scorned and she wants her revenge. And so
exactly.
I love that conversation she was having with Leon, because he was ready to go like all militia style and go to real war, like go literally to war. And she kind of was telling him, like, there's a better way to do this. There's a better way where you don't go to jail, you don't get killed, and you can still get what you want. And so I think that she got into his head about that, but it also revealed her motives and how she plans to attack the situation. So
what it made me think of too is that Franklin as much as he likes to be in control, he's in a situation where the people around him are thinking totally different than what he's thinking.
Yes.
And that puts him kind of in a precarious situation that your team they're threatening mutiny, and I don't know if he knows it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's well, we've seen that Cissy has her own agenda, and then Leon was ready to go to war, but then on Jerome and on Louis' side, like Jerome is all about trying to keep the family together, trying to keep the peace, and Louis really wasn't even trying to attend at all.
Oh, because she beefing with Franklin.
Yeah,
and she was really not trying to be around him.
Right, and she outed him. In fact, she was like, so you're not gonna tell your mom? She kept pushing him to tell the truth. And so like their situation, they're gonna have to address that sooner than later.
Yeah,
because you could it's uncomfortable and everybody can see it.
Yeah, the
Leon
empire,
didn't even go to the dinner.
Right.
and the empire is crumbling because you can't depend. Leon seems like he's found God or something.
He's conscious. I like
I was
that.
about to say he is.
No, don't get me wrong. I love his awakening because in on the one sense he wants to help his people, and that's a good thing. It's just and how you help your people though is the it's the point, and I think that's what Cissy was trying to relay to him. Starting a war isn't going to help. The Panthers start a war, and look what happened to them. And Leon was like, well, maybe you all should have shot a few, but you can't win that war because.
Right, but I understand him though.
I do too.
Because you seen the way that he came up in that neighborhood and they were dogging people out, like sticking dogs on them, beating them. And so like going through that kind of experience and feeling so powerless.
Right.
Like everything is out of your hands. The only thing I think he knows to turn to is violence.
Yeah, because
I'm sorry.
No, because I was gonna say it's not so much that they're starting, it's how do you play defense?
Right.
You're being attacked, because that's more so what it is. It's not like either the Leon and his crew, Black Panthers, these were people who trying to figure out how do we protect ourselves against these people who have authority but don't have any what's the word? There is no accountability.
Accountability,
right.
Yeah, they have no accountability. And so I think it's a natural reaction to want to fight fire with fire.
Right.
But the wisdom is that they're always going to outgun us, so we have to come at it another way.
Yeah.
And what she said to him
was, the elders come in.
But it is true that revolutions are bloody, and unfortunately, you have to be in that mode because freedom ain't free. And no matter how much we think we're free, we still have the same things going on now that we did, 40, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. We're still really not free, and we're still not up from under that type of mentality that they were facing with. We're still facing that today. Now, I'm not calling for a revolution. Gil Scott-Heron did that in one of his songs, but it makes sense. I mean, you're not going to stop this with peace. Peace isn't going to get us there. And so I understand what Leon is saying. Leon wants to help his people and he wants to stop the madness, but he doesn't have the manpower to do so. And I think that's where he needs to stop and think, if we're going to do this, how do you do it? Because you're definitely going to need the manpower.
Even Avi told him that. Avi told him too, like, if you do this, you want to protect your people, but they want to bring the rain down on your people.
Yeah. And that might affect Avi in some kind of way too, because weapons can be traced. So I don't want to speak about what I saw for next week, but it looked like Avi was involved with something. So I don't know exactly what it is, but I have a feeling he turned on Leon. That's what I'm thinking. So
I don't know if that's it or not, but Avi can't be trusted. I like his character on the show, but I never trusted him ever since that time he tried to shaft Franklin. And steal that money from him. So I always side-eye him. I think he would snitch or whatever in a minute.
What really needs to happen is what Louis did. was checking the officer, Bo, because he was so out of line. You know, he's supposed to be in this partnership with Louis, and he's going to intentionally send people after her crew, just because she wouldn't give him the intel he wanted to bust somebody else. And so, like, that's the part that really, I think, disturbed everybody, especially Jerome. And we talked about him last time we filmed, and we talked about how he didn't seem to really be as amped up as he used to be. But I seen a hint of that come back this week, because when he looked at Bo, you know, arresting him, I was like, uh-oh, this
No, because Bo, did you see Bo wink his eye?
Yeah, he was.
That's why I was
rubbing
like,
it in.
minute. I said, does he want Louis? Like, do they have a history of something? I said, because he deliberately winked his eye at Jerome and stuff too. And I was like, okay. It's like
it seems like he was trying to like emasculate him in that moment. Like,
yeah,
I can talk to you, I can push up on your woman, I can arrest you whenever I want. You know,
and that's why I thought Aunt Louie, when she, you know, started the pack, when she went to go meet up with Bo, you know, I thought maybe she might take Bo out. And it really would make sense, because I know Bo didn't report where he was going. Nobody knew that he was going to meet up with Aunt Louie, because Bo, you know, he's crooked anyways. So I was, you know, I don't advocate shooting folks, particularly police officers, but this one, he's crooked and he's got to go.
He does need to go.
He said he gotta go.
Yeah, and you know, when Franklin went to ask Reed for help with the LAPD, like, Reed basically, I hated his response, because he was like, you know, it's the LAPD, they're gonna go after a certain neighborhood. Now, if it was in the white neighborhood, it might be a different story, but he's like, nobody cares.
He was telling the truth though. He was telling the truth, even though I did not like his name. But for me, that further sealed his fate with Franklin. I was like,
who is nobody? You don't care, but don't say
that's
nobody
what I mean.
cares.
That's what I mean. I was like, oh, he, you know, the more and more he talks, I feel like he is putting a nail in the coffin with Franklin. That's why I said, I was like, Franklin gonna get him. Teddy going down. I was like, every time, because Franklin, you can see the look on his face, because I'm like, you basically telling him to turn his back on his people.
Yeah.
He was like, they're not messing with you, right? Well, okay, well then don't worry about it. No.
I got a good way for him to go. Franklin got money, right? Look, fix your airplane, put an ejector seat on it, and take him for a ride. I mean, look, you know, I think it'll work. You know, get him up there about, you know, 1,500 feet, 1,000 feet, 1,200 feet, whatever. Hit that ejector button, he's gone.
You know, Teddy is one of those people who needs some of his own medicine. He like to sneak up and poison people. Somebody
yes, that's what I said.
Research.
Like, you know, the Franklin could lace that cigar. He like
lace that cigar, put something in his coffee, leave it at work for him, something.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do something about Reed, and fast. And the other person that had to get dealt with this episode was old boy in the neighborhood that figured he was gonna put together these raps, snitching on Franklin and his crew.
But they were nice. They were nice.
Oh yeah, he, you know, he had bars, but I mean, this was like another version of the streets need a body,
right?
This was, you know, from Raising Canaan. I was just like, he is dropping diss tracks. He
dropped names, talking about Man Boy. He talked about.
He said like, Franklin, Tiana, rest in peace. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it was funny to me when Jerome was in there and he kept listening to it back a couple of times, but then there was like a line about like the uncle and the nephew. He was like, hold up, he rewind it again. And so even though he had already addressed it with that boy, I know this is not the last time that they're gonna be running into Maurice.
But listen, the way he was with Maurice, and he was like, can you spit that? Because he liked the music. It made me wonder, like, Jerome already has a stereo shop. I was like, is he gonna start a label?
Hey, that would be a smart thing. And I thought the same thing, you know.
If and only if you're not snitching on us in your raps.
Change the names, change the names.
Change the names, right. But dude has talent, clearly.
He's clearly got talent, and he can change what comes out of his mouth. But I'm hoping that he was thinking like, okay, this is something else we can do. Get yourself a studio, and let that boy go to work, because he's good.
Well, that Maurice clearly lacks the awareness side of things, because he was up on the rooftop with the skateboard, kind of zoned out. And then the fact that he didn't even think it would be a problem to be name dropping like that. I mean, he had to know. So
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a political rap, you know, he's dealing with the politics of what's going on in his neighborhood. I just think there's another way. He can actually do it, just leave the names out. And if you want to,
No, it was too much. It was too much. It was too much truth in those raps, because he was
we see
like
that nowadays with all these rappers getting locked up for their lyrics and stuff. So it's like,
like no,
sometimes you don't need to rap about what you know, or what
Right.
you've done.
right.
Yeah, so that's where I was like looking at Jerome, and I was like, okay, I see that fire in him coming back. You know, we might be getting old Jerome back soon. And then of course the conversation that Franklin had with Veronique, he kind of revealed to everybody now that he's having the baby. So Aunt Louie and Jerome know. And I'm thinking about how this changes the dynamic with them. Like, I wonder if they're more sympathetic to him and his rants, knowing what he's doing it for. Or
Aunt Louie isn't.
Louie didn't look happy. She was just like, what?
Yeah.
Jerome was happy. Louie was just kind of like, what? Leon was just looking.
Well, Leon already knew. He told Leon last week.
Leon already knew, but he was just like, you know.
But you know, I don't think it changes anything for them, because at the end of the day, what the issue is, Franklin is selfish and he takes care of his and he does what he wants to do. So what you having a baby? We all got family. You know, we all got people we got to look out for and take care of. So for them, I don't know if it changes anything other than it may make them think he's even more dangerous.
Or if they were playing in the plot against him or something like that, because we talked about that, like maybe Jerome and Louie, you know, after that threat that Franklin gave them, where he said there's nothing that he wouldn't be willing to do. Like, would they follow through on that threat, knowing that he has a child on the way?
I don't think.
Does he really? I mean, I'm like, you know what? Because I felt something about Veronique when she worked that gun. I was like,
well, if you go to FX website and if you look at the character breakdown for each character, they have it, and they show Veronique and they kind of talk about her, and they said she has a checkered past.
Okay.
And she's obviously been through some things with her mother. She kind of explained that
her
mom is absent in her life right now, and that her mom, she felt like she had to learn how to use the gun to protect her mother in some kind of way.
She said that, and I hope that's true. But I when she used that gun, she reminded me of a cop.
If she had broken that gun down to the last spring, oh yeah, she's CIA.
She practically did.
No, all she really did was release the clip, put the clip back in, and cocked it. I mean, that's all I heard.
She broke that joint down. Go back and watch. She broke that joint down.
She break it down. I mean, because theoretically, you can take a 45 apart. I mean, you know, they even and some agencies, you know, they teach you how to break a gun down and build it back up in a matter of about 15 seconds. She didn't do that. All I heard was her release the clip, put it back in, and it was done. Now for most women,
go watch that one again.
Most women and even a lot of men who aren't familiar with guns can't do that with a 45, because, you know, like a gun like that, you have to be kind of careful, because once you put that bullet in the chamber, even if you take the clip out, you now have one bullet in the chamber still.
I thought he had a Glock.
No, it looked like more like I mean, it was a Glock and a 45 are similar because they have the clips. They can hold 12 rounds, 15 rounds, 20. So, you know, but the point is, once you put that clip back and if you take the clip out,
there's still one in the chamber.
There's still one in the chamber. And a lot of folks don't understand that about Glocks and 45s and guns of that type. Why a revolver is a lot, you know, safer in that regard, because once you take the bullets out, there's nothing in the chamber. So she understands all that, and because she understands that, yeah, it makes sense that she was, you know, she had to learn it to protect her mother. I got that.
Yeah. And I hear that, but I'm just like, you know, Tierra was side-eyeing JP and the other reason why I feel away about Veronique. I mean, I don't feel the way about it. If she's on up and up, cool. I want Franklin to find love, you know. However, I didn't like the way, I don't know, did you see how Wanda and Veronique looked at each other? Wanda looked at her like she was scared of her, like she knew something, and she scurried away. And
like dismissed herself.
She sure did. And I was just like,
I wasn't sure if it was because she realized that they want like a private moment, or if she really
when Cissy was there, and she was like, she get out, like she looked at Veronique, and then she like scurried away. It was something, and I was like, now did Wanda see something, observe something during her crackhead days?
So you don't think Veronique is pregnant then?
I said, is she? I'm just wondering. Is she,
I mean, she drank that champagne, didn't she? Not to say that
sure
people don't do that.
She
drank the champagne.
Yeah.
I read that, like, I did see the interaction between her and Wanda. I didn't know if it was a thing that did Veronique know that she was staying in the house, and did she feel a way about Franklin putting the girl up in his house?
That's a good point too. But
I didn't know how to read that. Yeah.
You would think that she would be understanding, like, I'm not gonna be messy like that. Like Franklin comes home to her every night, and obviously Wanda came begging for a job. Like, I would think that she would understand that it's strictly platonic.
Yeah, she didn't seem bothered, because even when she was just like, you know, I hope you didn't mind that I used the rent money to get the snake. And Veronique was like, of course, no, you know, it's okay. So I didn't get the impression that she was like jealous or anything like that. But I saw that look, and I was like, what's this look? And that's why I'm saying, I'm just like, there may be more to her than we think.
Look, you're not the only one, because Damson was on Breakfast Club last week, and Angela Yee expressed the same exact concerns, like saying she did not trust Veronique, and Franklin was like, you might be on to something, but then he was like, or you might not. So he kind of like came back with that, but I was like, he almost spilled details there.
He could work for Teddy. What if she's deep undercover?
A lot of people think she's deep undercover.
I'm gonna tell you what though, if that's the case, Franklin will never trust another woman.
Oh,
and
he will be burned forever.
And if she doesn't get the drop on him, Lord help that child.
You know, I was surprised that he was so, you know, eager to get into another relationship after the situation with T. When I saw that he was in, I was like, oh wow. I said, he's really trusting. He, you know.
But you know, on the backstory of that, because I think we all wondered, like, how did this thing with Veronique even come about? And so he also explained that in the Breakfast Club interview about how she was representing him when he was battling the older couple that he stole the bookstore from.
Yeah,
and
she was their
helped him win that. Yeah, and so I was kind of like, okay, so she helped him win this case, and Franklin basically swindled these people out of their store. So she's willing to date and be intimate with somebody who did something like that to these older people.
Well, maybe that's the point too, because when he thought about it with T, he realized that she came looking for him. And so maybe he feels a little bit more comfortable with somebody he met kind of randomly, so to speak.
Well, maybe, but I think I
would be cautious
on side eye Veronique. Yeah.
Well, and you see, he even asked her, because he was like, where'd you learn to do that? And I was like, I think he mentally, you know, he pocketed that. He put that in his mental Rolodex.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you see a woman pick up a Glock or 45 and handle it the way she did, you're gonna ask questions. Because most women are anti-gun, you know, particularly a woman of her caliber. You just wouldn't think that, you know, she would be that. But then again, I take that back, because if you go to a gun range nowadays, you see as many women in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna say women go to the gun range.
But in the 80s, it wasn't as common.
No,
so
it wasn't.
Would be definitely
in the way she held the gun. She held the gun like a cop.
Yeah.
She held the gun like a cop.
Well, let's just say she knew her way around a gun. That's how I would say it. She knew her way around a gun.
There's a certain stance that cops had. Look at the gun, the way they hung.
Well, you didn't see that because she was kind of off screen, and all you could do was
I watched the thing.
She just had it down low, but you could see
she had it down low. She had the way she had it. She looked like what's the chick that Gustavo killed? The cop, the one that was had infiltrated.
Yeah,
I forgot her name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, when she pulled out the gun, the way she held it, like, she gave me those vibes. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. Hopefully I'm wrong about Veronique. But when I was concerned when I saw that, I was like,
I'm leaning to the side of her being shady.
yeah, I was like, and that's why I'm questioning whether she's really pregnant or not.
Well, how did we find out she was pregnant though? I mean, did she go and have a test? And
well, he went to the ultrasound. He got
so she was so unless the doctor is in on it too, you know, which I can't believe.
Listen, if she's CIA, I don't trust none of that stuff. The plans, I don't trust none of that stuff.
Look, next week I seen the previews, and you know, somebody is after Franklin's crew, and Louis is saying whoever did it knew where all of them would be. And I was like, this got to be an inside job. So Veronique, I'm looking at her shady.
It could be Avi, or is Louis snitching? Because that pressure from the cop, from Buckley, he said, you got to give up somebody. I was like, is that Louis? I hope not.
Give up, but she wouldn't give up Franklin like that, though. You think?
No, I don't think she would give up Franklin.
No, I don't think so either. But they beefing, so.
But I saw Avi involved with it though. It was a real short clip.
Yeah, it looked like it was a shootout going on, and he was like kind of like ducking and firing back.
So I'm trying to think, you know, did that have anything to do with, you know, because he said give me a couple of days to get the weaponry that Leon wanted, and I don't think he really needed that. I think Avi was trying to plan something or put something together, because what I think the way Avi was talking to Leon, it was like, okay, this boy is a loose cannon, and you know, it might not be good to keep him around. So I don't know, you know.
Or did Avi stage that or something? Like have Leon to come meet him to do the gun exchange and then purposely have it shot up so that he can't get the guns?
That's what I'm thinking. It has to be something like that, but that's a good point. I don't know.
Or either that or some other interest that he had, because you know he's not clean. A lot of people looking for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. But Cissy has some very daunting words for them, telling them that eventually their whole operation will crumble. And I was like, I mean, it's true. Like that's the inevitable. You just try to stay in it as long as you can and come out with your life.
Why I like the move Franklin is making in terms of the real estate and all that other jazz, but you know, if it's time to leave, if you're gonna leave, it's time to leave. Now is the time. You know, I see Ghost and Franklin more and more.
Yeah, well, if they're sticking to truth, and we know that Franklin's character is supposed to be representative of Ricky Ross, he survived that. I mean, he went to jail. He's still alive.
Right.
So.
Allegedly.
Right. So if they stick to the script, then Franklin will likely end up in jail.
Right.
And then the question is, who put him there? Was it Veronique?
Was it Reed?
Was it? Because I still feel like Reed ain't making it out this season. I feel like he's gonna get his comeuppance.
Yeah, but then the thing is, it's kind of what you said a while ago, Ron. You talked about dealing with the devils, you know. I think I remember you saying that. And sometimes, you know, even though you don't like Teddy and he is definitely unhinged, sometimes it's better to deal with somebody who you can you're familiar with, and you can somewhat, you know, understand how they move and calculate their moves, versus bringing somebody in and you don't know if you're going to get somebody that's even worse, you know, or they could be kind of lenient and lax like Grady was.
And that's a good point. I mean, at least you know Teddy. But what I just don't like about Teddy is he knows everything because of his position, because of where, you know, who he works for. And, you know, he just knows everything whenever it's going to come up, you know, whatever is happening, he already knows. And like I said, I'm almost sure he knows that Cissy is back in town. And it's really going to be interesting if those two meet before Cissy can carry out what her plan is.
Well, I'm concerned that if Veronique is on the up and up, and if she really is pregnant, I don't want Teddy to know that, because don't tell him what he would do.
Well, that's another point, you know, because that certainly makes Franklin a lot weaker, because now, you know, he has a child and you know, they're not married, and they mentioned something
But a
about,
significant other, yeah.
Yeah, I
so,
think it just depends on which side of this Veronique is on. Because if she is actually a Fed, then Teddy can't touch her anyway.
and at the dinner, who really didn't want to get married? Was that, I don't think that was Franklin as much as it was Veronique. They said that they put it on hold.
I think they're waiting for the baby to come. I think they said they
Why
were.
wait though? I mean, wouldn't the average woman want to be married before the baby comes, before she starts the show? So it was interesting, and that kind of led me to believe that Veronique might be a little shady,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that putting the marriage off wasn't Franklin's idea. I think it's more hers.
Yeah, and I guess back then they still had that kind of idea that, kids out of wedlock was like a no.
Yeah, you got married, but they love each other, so and certainly money isn't the issue. So why wouldn't you get married?
Well, I was thinking maybe it comes down to their assets, because now that Franklin is amassing all of these assets and things like that, and because he has been scorned, like he might love Veronique, he might want to build a life with her, but maybe I don't necessarily want to give up everything that I worked hard for if things go left.
He put that trust up for her. You got a trust for her and the baby.
Right. And I think
put
he'll
it
take
up
care
for-
of them for sure. But you know how some people feel about like legal.
Oh yeah, they don't want that contract.
Yeah.
Offshore assets always work.
Yeah. He got the hangar, the plane and everything in the hangar. He got new cars, all these properties and things like that. Like Franklin has really established himself. And so Veronique, she's good at what she does, but like I said, she comes from a checkered past. I don't know what kind of asset she might hold, or is Franklin kind of her come up? So all of that remains to be seen. But I enjoyed this episode. I'm definitely looking forward to next week though, because it seemed like it was a lot of action, and it's the mid-season episode. So, things always kind of pick up on episode 5.
Mid-season already, huh?
Yeah. Because they put out the first two episodes in the same night.
Yeah.
So it's going by fast.
It is going by fast.
Yeah, so I'm excited to figure out what's going to go down. I'm still wondering how Gustavo is going to play a role in this, because he's kind of like the middleman. He's like the unbiased party here. He seems like he's like just doing what each party wants.
Yeah, he's just trying to take care of his family. He's just trying to take. But he and Reed seemed to, like last season, seemed to have a friendship, because Reed helped him out when his brother and my sister-in-law got killed. So they did seem to have kind of like a bromance.
I wouldn't put it, I'm not making a prediction, but I wouldn't put it past Gustavo taking Teddy out.
I think if his livelihood is threatened, and if those kids that he now has under his care are threatened, I think he will go against Teddy.
If that happens.
Yeah.
Other than that,
something tells me Teddy's going to try to pull him in on this whole thing. So, and I don't think he's having it. I think he is, happy where he is right now. But he works behind the scenes, and he could be the one to take out Teddy, and nobody would know.
Right. But okay. Well, I think we have gone pretty long enough. I just want to thank everybody for watching. Please drop down in the comments and give us your predictions for next week's episode, and also your comments about this episode. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also click the notification bell so that you get alerted. And if you have some extra time, go and check out our previous interviews. Like I said, last time we interviewed Aunt Louie, played by Angela Lewis. We just recently interviewed Anthony Fleming, who plays JP on Force, if you watch that show. And we have some other interviews up our sleeve. Hopefully we can get those. We won't tell you who, but just know that I always say this, it pays to be a spotter. So follow us on all of our social media accounts and reach out to us if you would like to be one of our guest spotters on the show, and we will coordinate with you in terms of getting you on with us. You guys got anything else to add?
Nope.
Yep, you were spot on.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks again, and we will see you next week. Same time, same place.
Bye-bye.
All these opportunities were just across the bridge. The world was more than twice the size, and now I was a kid. Traded in the comfort zone for life, I'm on the edge. I was gaining all my dreams, holding tightly to the pledge to myself. Was quick to move, was waist deep in the sand. We were starving to beat off all the seeds that we planted. Somewhere back a couple of years in the attic, I almost ditched the plan. To ship the work to the label back when the bars were bland. Man, on my word though, I follow through on prior engagement. The tip of my tongue not far from the innovation. Now it's mine for the taking. Tell the people mistaking me for somebody to toy with. The plug the ox to play me. Time was paralyzed, I felt the strain to stretch my lungs. Confidence depleted right along with all the funds.